Rutgers legitimately is back in a bowl game for the first time since 2014, and they get to welcome Miami to their neck of the woods as the Scarlet Knights and the Hurricanes will square off in the Pinstripe Bowl in what should be a great battle, a clash of styles, and a game that might be more interesting and a lot closer than you think. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. So glad to break down this Pinstripe Bowl for you today between Rutgers and Miami. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including that holiday special, those expert picks over on the GridironExpert.com. Do not miss out on those, guys. Some of the best picks in the entire country. It is never too late to sign up. Holiday special gets you every college football bowl game spread pick and every NFL playoff game spread pick. Some of the best picks in the country. Guaranteed winnings already hitting well over 60% on those bets, just like we have all year long. So again, if you want to win big for a very, very low price, this is the place for you. Go check it out. The link again down in the description below, thegridironexpert.com. So let's take a look at this Pinstripe Bowl, guys. I am really, really excited for this game. I think to the naked eye, if you're not a Rutgers fan or if you're not a Miami fan, you're probably not that interested in this, but you need to be. You need to be. This is fun. You look at Rutgers, man. First bowl game legitimately since 2014. They got to play in that COVID year against Wake Forest because A&M had to bow out. But the first time Rutgers finally hit 6 wins since 2014. The Scarlet Knights started 6-2. Faltered down the stretch against tougher opponents like Ohio State, Iowa, Penn State, and Maryland. But regardless, a bowl's a bowl, and Greg Schiano has done a phenomenal job in his second stint back in Piscataway. They're taking on a Miami team, guys, that once again underachieved under Mario Cristobal. Just 7-5 for the Hurricanes this year. Started the year 4-0, rose to number 17 in the country. But after that questionable play calling that led to a loss against Georgia Tech, the Hurricanes kind of spiraled out of control. And guys, keep in mind, the U prides themselves so much. The U is facing the 5th time in the last 6 years that they have had a season with less than 8 regular season wins. So Miami, not exactly the powerhouse that they want to be. Mario Cristobal doing great on the recruiting trail, has a lot to figure out. But take on a Rutgers team that's hungry, man. Rutgers team that's hungry to get a winning season, a team that's hungry to get a bowl win. And you take a look at Rutgers' offense. Look, they're not good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Their offense is not good. They have won these games based on the strength of their defense and a relatively solid ground attack. But overall, Rutgers offensively, not the most explosive in the country. 307.5 yards per game. That's all they're averaging. That's 123rd in the entire nation. It's one of the worst offenses statistically in the country. They're averaging just 142 passing yards per game with Gavin Wimsatt over 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. They've been anchored by a very strong offensive line and a very strong running back, and Kyle Monangai over 1,000 yards, nearly 111 yards, 1,100 yards, 1,100 yards on the year, 7 touchdowns, averaging over 165 rushing yards per game. This is what they rely on. They rely on Kyle Monangai to lead them down the stretch, bullying teams up front in the trenches. That's the Greg Schiano way. The offensive line's given up just 14 sacks all year long. Wimsatt also has over nearly 500 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. So what he has lacked through the air, he has made up for on the ground. This is a Rutgers team that can beat you up front, they can play bully ball, they can run the ball effectively, and while they're not flashy, and while they're not putting up 30 points consistently, they can beat you by bullying you. They can take long, methodical drives, marching the ball down the field. They can wear your defense down with those type of drives. That's exactly what Greg Schiano wants to do. You take a look at Miami. This is a depleted Miami team on both sides of the ball, but especially offensively. Tyler Van Dyke, their star quarterback, has already transferred to Wisconsin. Emory Williams is injured, so Miami will be down to their 3rd-string quarterback, and Ja'Cory Brown, who has not played this year. No passing attempts this season. They lose their number 3 rusher and Donald Chaney, 478 yards on the year. They lose their number 3 wide receiver and Colby Young, who has over 560 yards and 5 touchdowns on the year. So they lose a lot of talent. You're going to be playing with a very inexperienced quarterback, not as much wide receiver depth and wide receiver options, not as much running back depth. When fully healthy, Miami's been solid, right? The Hurricanes have averaged over 440 yards per game. That's 26th in the nation. They've averaged 177 rushing yards per game. That's pretty solid too. But what this looks like to me, this is going to be a big battle of who can win in the trenches, right? Two teams that want to run the ball. Miami certainly wanting to run the ball too, with a very inexperienced quarterback trying to take some of the weight and the pressure off of his shoulders, trying to say, hey, Ja'Cory Brown, you don't have to win this game solely through the air. This is a Miami team that does have their star running back, in theory, should be at the time of this video. He is expected to play, in Henry Parrish, over 570 yards, and a Miami offensive line that, like Rutgers, has given up just 14 sacks. So two strong offensive lines, two teams that know how to run the ball well. Might come down to a game of defense. Which defensive line, which front seven can make the most plays? Well, you take a look at Rutgers, and Greg Schiano, a defensive-minded coach, has instilled a very strong defensive philosophy with the Scarlet Knights. This defense, like we mentioned, has been a major reason why Rutgers got off that 6-2 start, why Rutgers is back in the postseason for the first time since 2014. Yes, they will be without their star cornerback and Max Melton. He led the team with 3 interceptions. Otherwise, you don't see Rutgers dealing with many opt-outs or transfers. They are really set on this game. And the Scarlet Knights had the 19th ranked overall defense. Scarlet Knights had a top 20 defense. Didn't hear about it, did you? That's exactly what they had. 314.2 yards per game. That's all they were allowing. They're giving up just 176 passing yards per game. That's 11th in the country. They're giving up just 138 rushing yards per game. That's 45th in the country. And if you're Rutgers, if you're Greg Schiano, I think I'm sending a lot of pressure on Ja'Carri Brown. I am sending the house a few times against the third-string quarterback that has hardly any experience this season. I am trying to find any way possible to force Miami to have to go out and win this game through the air. We know Miami can run. We know Miami wants to run because they don't want Brown throwing the ball. They don't want him chunking it deep. They have to get pressure on the quarterback, force Miami to throw, force them into second, third, and long situations, force them into mistakes, maybe force a turnover here or there. But that's what you've got to do if you're Rutgers, is force the young quarterback, the inexperienced quarterback, to have to make some plays. If Rutgers can bottle up the run game, the secondary will take care of the rest just like they have all year long. You take a look at Miami. Like offense, they're down a lot of key starters, right? They're down their leading tackler and safety James Williams. They're down their number 3 tackler and their safety in Cameron Kinchins, who also leads the team with 5 interceptions. They're down their number 4 tackler and Corey Flagg at linebacker. Miami, entering this game, will be without over 28% of their tackling production, half of their interception production, and 27.3% of their forced fumble production. They are going to be without a lot of key players on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of guys that aren't just key, but guys that are making plays. They're going to be down to playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. Overall, when those guys have played, Miami was only giving up 324 yards per game, and they were only allowing 97 rushing yards per game. So statistically, Miami had a better and has a better rushing defense than that of Rutgers. So this is going to be a game where, similar to what we just said with Rutgers, if you're Miami, you're trying to force Gavin Wimsatt to win the game through the air, right? He's a guy that has 9 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, only 1,600 passing yards. They're averaging like 140 passing yards per game. They are not a pass-happy team. They don't have a quarterback that can air it out and win a game solely through the air. They don't have the weapons on the outside to beat you that way either. So if Miami can stack the box, load the box, and contain Wimsatt because he made up for his lack of passing with his running ability, if you can contain the run as a whole and force Rutgers to throw, Miami's going to be sitting very pretty. I don't really have faith in either running back or either quarterback right now to deliver. I don't have faith in Gavin Wimsatt to go out there and have himself a career day. I don't have faith in Ja'Carri Brown to go out there and have himself a career day. But you look at Miami's rushing defense. Yes, it's been strong all year long, but the last few weeks, it's been susceptible. 143 rushing yards allowed to Boston College, 162 rushing yards allowed to Louisville. Earlier in the year, they allowed 235 to North Carolina. They allowed 138 to Virginia. And ultimately, guys, those numbers right there, on top of a few other things we're about to mention, are why we're picking Rutgers to win the Pinstripe Bowl. Give me the Scarlet Knights, after years and years of suffering, a decade of suffering, to clinch a winning season and win a bowl game. Look, I think Rutgers right now has the better defense. It has been strong all year long. Keep in mind, this is a Rutgers team that if they had even just a little bit better of an offense, probably would have defeated Ohio State earlier in the year. No doubt about that. That defense was holding their own and doing everything they could to give that team a chance to beat the Buckeyes. They're going to have practically home field advantage. We said Miami having to travel up north into the cold Bronx, into the cold New York to take on Rutgers, who's used to that type of weather up in the Northeast. Rutgers technically kind of has home field advantage in this Pinstripe Bowl. Rutgers significantly more motivated than a Miami team that once again underachieved. It is maybe looking ahead to next year with one of the top-rate recruiting classes in the entire country. This is a Rutgers team that has been hungry, that has been playing their butts off all year long. They want this game more than Miami. They have the home field advantage. I think they have the defensive advantage. And right now, I think they have the offensive advantage as well. Not as many opt-outs, not as many transfers. Rutgers is in a much better spot than that of the Hurricanes. And for all those reasons that we just mentioned, Rutgers will win the Pinstripe Bowl. Rutgers and Greg Schiano will finish the year at 7-6. They will clinch their first winning season since 2014. Make it pandemonium in Piscataway. Things are trending up for the Scarlet Knights, and they take down Miami as they once again are left searching for a lot of answers heading in to the offseason. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. Again, those expert picks, do not miss out on those. Holiday special there for you guys, some of the best picks in the entire country. We guarantee they're going to hit, already hitting over 60% in the bowl games we've predicted so far. Do not miss out. It's never too late to sign up. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.